Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have our monthly guidance for the month ahead for this specific video. That of course means February 2024. Quick little side note before we get to the predictions and guidance. Down in the description box, I did receive a bit of a clairaudient message while I was pulling the cards today, specifically during pile threes, but I think it was meant for everybody. So of course there is a link to that song that I intuitively heard while I was picking the piles today, in case that is something you'd like to view / listen to for some healing or sort of a message from spirit that might be synchronicity or something helpful to you. So that'll be down by the timestamps. Anyways, let's get to picking our piles. For pile number ones, we have number 25, Release the Dark Wound, Let Love Live. For pile twos, we have Spirals of Manifestation, number 18. Oopsie. Going helter-skelter today. Okay. And for pile threes, we have number 27, simply the word Receiving. So as always, whenever you are ready, after you've meditated on the piles and decided which one calls the most to you, feel free to drop down to either the description box or the top pinned comment below to click on the timestamp for your reading, and I will see you in our discussion about your February 2024. Bye! Hello, my lovely pile number ones. Welcome to your pick a card reading today that is all about February 2024. We're going to talk about your next month ahead, generally both in predictions at first, and then we're also going to talk about general guidance and advice towards the end of the reading. So without further ado, let's get to the reading. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Release the Dark Wound, Let Love Live. We have someone releasing a fish, but there's also a bit of a theme here of the fish coming back to life as well as the human, because you can kind of see the bones of her wrist and fingers showing through the skin. Kind of a coming back to life theme I'm seeing already here, pile number ones. We'll set that down here just for the moment though, as we get your other cards on the desk. So first up we have predictions. I'm going to set these cards down here with me just for a second, because those are more your advice cards. Your Elle Qui is She Who Radiates Geneva, Knowing, Ambition, Confidence. Okay. Let's see what else pops up here. We also have your dream ritual, which is Inspire. So this does have a piano with a music staff on it. If you recall in the intro, I did mention that there was a clairaudient message that came through today while I was pulling the cards out earlier, preparing the piles, etc. So that might be an indication, pile number ones, that Spirit wants you to listen to that song that I had put down in the description, but of course the choice is always up to you if you do want to listen to that song. In general, though, there is a message here about being confident, maybe a creative project or something that you've been inspired to do. We'll see what else pops out, though. I also want to get out a Lenormand reading for predictions, and then I also have some tarot cards to pull. So Spirit, for pile number ones, could you give me a Lenormand reading of 3 cards? Something about like how their February would go, or prediction, please. What's this Inspire, Confidence, Releasing Things message here? Okay, for sure that one. We have the key, so the key to something. We have, let's see, the ring, which is a promise or an agreement. Okay. And then I think this card here is the tree, so it could be family or health. Okay. Or growth, putting down roots. We'll see what else pops out here. And then I am actually going to shift your cards around a little bit. Apologies, pile ones. You're always kind of my guinea pigs for the setup of the cards. Thank you for being my guinea pigs for the setup. Alright, and then Spirit, for pile ones, could you also give me some tarot cards, about 3, that tell me what's going on in their February 2024, please? What's going on in February 2024 here for pile number ones? Okay, for sure that one is calling our name. We have 8 of Cups reversed. Okay. Emotionally moving on or needing to about something. Okay. We have the Strength card reversed, needing more confidence in something. That kind of ties into your Elle Qui here about being confident about something, radiating things, right? We will shift that over just a titch here. And then I think I'll pick this one. We have the Five of Cups, so something about sadness or grief over something that you've been thinking about. Okay. All right, get my ducks in a row here, pile number ones. Okay, number one, the first message that's popping out here with your Lenormand. I like to read Lenormand first here because a little bit of a more blunt system than tarot. So, reading it as a sentence, we have the key to a promise or a bond of family or health. So there's some message here about it's a key to a promise regarding the health of something, or something about, like a promise regarding your family. This one part of the message they're speaking of, pile number ones. I would be interested to see more about that because that's a little bit vague there. Likely that you probably, as the querent, know more about what this is talking about than I do, as this is a general reading, so everyone's going to be a little bit different. I can't tune into every single person, but the key to a promise with health or family. Okay. Yeah, let me pull another Lenormand reading just to see more details here, pile number ones. Because that one's being a little vague here. I'll shuffle off camera a little bit here. Okay. Spirit, can you tell me more about what this key is? What's the key to a promise or an agreement with health or family? What's more details on that? Let's see, we'll do a 3-card reading again here. We have the Snake, becoming anew, shedding. We have, let's see, the Mice, loss or decay of something. Okay, and then we have the Heart. So either love or emotions. Okay, so before you got the key, the ring, and the tree, and that meant the key to a promise or bond of health or family. And the extra detail Spirit is providing you, pile number ones, is it's something to do with the renewal or the shedding. I would say it's more like shedding. The shedding of the decay of the heart. So that could mean literally like something to do with heart health is up on the mend here, pile number ones. A positive message about heart health for you in February. If any of you are having or know someone that maybe is having some heart-related issue, it seems like something is on the mend here. Something's being renewed. The loss is being renewed, something like that. Or it could mean the heart here in Lenormand can also mean something to do with the emotional heart. So the renewal of the loss of love or the shedding of the loss of love. So for some of you as a general reading, this could mean that in February there's going to be healing from the loss of a love of some sort. It could also mean the renewal of love in terms of new love energy entering your life, I guess is how I would put that, after the loss of older love energy, which, perfect for February, right? The month of love. Valentine's Day is the 14th, so yeah, so that's one part of your message, pile number ones, for February. Is there something to do with either emotional or literal heart health that's on the mend or is going to be renewed? And there's something with a promise involved with, like, you had the key and then the ring, which is like the key to a promise of health or family. Some aspect of family is also involved, so that's sort of the general message with Lenormand there. Another message I'm seeing, though, with your other cards here, pile number ones, is specifically your pile leader here, release the dark wound, let love live, in combination with your Strength reversed card, your Inspire card, and your She Who Radiates, Geneva. There's a message here about something in February where you're going to be hesitant to be confident about releasing something to the world. And I'm getting the sense that it's a creative project, or it could be some sort of project at work. Something that you've worked on, you've put a lot of effort into, and there's a little bit of a struggle here with feeling confident enough to put it forth into the world. And I say that because, like I said, your pile leader, release the dark wound, let love live, is like releasing a fish into the water and bringing life back into something. It could be something that you've worked on that maybe you've struggled a bit with like creative blocks. Maybe you've struggled a little bit leading up to February with, like I said, it could be a confidence issue. It could be maybe just feeling uninspired, that type of thing. But there's some sort of energy shift here where you're being encouraged in February here to release that thing. So, like, for example, if you're, let's say, a songwriter, because, you know, the piano and the music staff did come up here with your Inspire card. If you're like, like a music writer, a songwriter, if there's something you've been hesitant about releasing to the world, they're speaking of like that energy, or like hesitant releasing like a song to the world, for example, publishing something. That's something that will pop up in February here. That's kind of what Spirit wants to talk to you about with this second part of your message, or predictions for February, right? Especially with, you know, she who radiates knowing, ambition, confidence, and the strength reversed card, which strength is all about like willpower, being confident, feeling like, yeah, I might have a bear next to me, but I feel calm and secure and strong that I can control the situation, and I have the willpower and the inner strength to get through this, is kind of the meaning of the strength card reversed. And it's asking for more of that energy in February, or there will be a situation in February where you'll be asked to lean into that a little bit more. There also might be some sort of situation where you might have to emotionally walk away from something with the Eight of Cups reversed. I don't see the energy of walking away quite yet in February, but the Eight of Cups reversed is asking for more of that energy. So there's some situation regarding emotionally distancing yourself from a thing. And then with the Five of Cups, that is the card of, it can be like grief or sorrow or being upset about something, but there's always a silver lining of not every cup is overturned. There's always one cup still standing here, you can see in the card, right? That could be some sadness around, you know, feeling unconfident with this thing you want to release to the world in February, like, say, a song, some creative project, some project at work, something like that, right? It could be some other sort of emotional related thing, like we were talking about before with your Lenormand prediction. It could be the offer of like new love in your life in February, if that's something applicable to you after the loss of love in some way. Hence the emotional asking for, or the crossroads of emotional distancing that might pop up here in February. That type of thing. So I don't see it as like a great sorrow of like, oh, something really bad is coming. It's just like emotional processing of some of the situations we've touched on so far for your February here, pile number ones. I also see here too, like, if you have been struggling with some creative blocks, if you're a creative person, or just like blocks in general with things that you make or you do, I feel like that's going to be lifting here in February here, especially with your Inspire card. I feel like there's a lot of energy blockages that are just kind of finally clear, because like the intuitive message I'm seeing here in my mind's eye is like a river or a stream that's been clogged with like old matter and like detritus and like leaves for like a long time, and finally in February there's going to be like a clearing of that blockage, and finally it's just going to flow down the river, and then this energy is finally going to start springing anew through what was blocked before. That's kind of the message I'm getting here. And I think what would really help with that, though, of course, we'll get to your advice in a second here with the other half of your reading, but what would really help with that, pile number ones, is leaning more into being willing to share yourself and share your projects and things with the world, especially in the realm of creativity, right? But in general, being more confident and letting yourself radiate more to the world here in February, and also being willing to emotionally move on from things that aren't serving you anymore. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for February for you, pile ones. Let's see if there's any other messages with predictions. Yeah, so it seems a pretty fruitful month here, pile number ones, for February. Letting go of old energy. Like I said before with your Lenormand reading, it could also be literally a heart thing that you've been worried about with you or someone else. It feels like that's on the mend here, especially with your Lenormand cards down here of the renewal after the decay of heart. Which could also mean love too. It might not be physical heart, but yeah, it depends. Of course, general reading everyone's going to be just slightly different, but yeah, just releasing old things, ushering in the new. Being more confident, being more inspired, letting old energy go, and finally, like, it's almost like the spring thaw when the ice finally melts off of the water and things kind of finally flow again, you know? Okay, so let's get to the part of your reading about advice for February pile number ones. Oopsie. I bumped the table. Sorry if you heard that on the mic. Okay, set these over here. And then we'll clear the desk. Apologies for one moment as I clear everything. And then we'll shuffle your tarot cards as well, because we'll use tarot for the advice. Oopsie, I have such tiny hands. I have a hard time getting a hold of the cards sometimes. I have little baby hands. I don't know if you've noticed. Very, very tiny hands. Sometimes decks are a little bit too big for me, but... Alright, and then we have your oracle cards for advice from Spirit for February. So let's look at those. For your angel guide oracle, we have do the work, okay? Do the work. And your healing spirits oracle, we have you are your purpose. Now, this is another oracle card that's been popping a lot in my readings lately. I swear to God, I always shuffle between readings, but sometimes the same thing keeps popping out. It could be, I always say, if you do see a lot of repeated cards in the piles that you pick, it'd be a little bit of a repeated message for you from Spirit, synchronicity, that type of thing. Because I do know I have been pulling this one a lot for readings lately. It keeps popping out, so... Okay. And then I would also like some tarot cards for pile number ones for guidance and advice for February about these predictions we talked about, or in general. Oopsie, well, that one for sure. Okay. Okay, so that's really great. That's kind of what I was saying before, pile number ones here, about the releasing of energy or new energy coming in, or finally like letting it flow. The Ten of Wands reversed is about releasing burdens. A burden is being lifted off of you, pile number ones, in February in terms of, it could be the heart or love matter. It could be the release of the burden of the, like the creative block I was talking about earlier. Let's get your other cards on the table though first before I continue. We have the Three of Swords reversed, also fantastic to get. This is about moving on from pain. Once again, letting go of things that are blocking you. Oh, okay, so it seems like February is going to be fantastic for you, pile ones. I'm excited. And we also have the King of Pentacles or Wheels reversed. And then I will pull one more card here because we do have some room. Page of Wands. Okay, I'll hold that up for a second. Page of Wands. Yeah, fantastic month for you, I think, pile number ones. I know we're at like the guidance and not necessarily the predictions part, but yeah, focus on areas of your life here in February where burdens are being released and pain is being let go of. That's like that complete clearing of blockages I saw earlier, and we talked about earlier with your predictions section of the reading. It seems like there's a lot of energy of movement, of letting go, feeling uplifted. That type of thing here in February for you, pile number ones. And then your Do the Work card here from the Angel Guide Oracle. I think, I don't get the sense that that's necessarily saying that you haven't done enough work already. I think what it's telling you, pile number ones, is to know and trust that you've already been doing enough work for the things that you've been working for. I hope I worded that in a clear sense. But basically what I'm saying is, like with Do the Work, it's from all the struggles you've been through already in the previous months and this energy finally being unblocked and letting free, you know, be that like a creative block that was there or just blocks in general in your life, you know, keep doing what you're doing, because it seems like from the other cards, like you have been doing the work. Yeah, this is just a very positive reading, pile number ones. Oh, this is fantastic, especially with the Ten of Wands and the Three of Swords reversed. Like I said, releasing of burdens, releasing of pain. So do focus on those things in your life in in February, pile ones. You know, focus where you can release burdens where possible, focus where you can move on from pain, but I see just a lot of forward movement here, a lot of renewal in February for you. And then You Are Your Purpose. That card is all about not feeling like you have to let other people direct your life, or not feeling like, what's another way of explaining it? like feeling right and on the right path where you are, because you're right where you are is where you're meant to be. Maybe that's kind of what led to some of these blockages in the first place for you, pile number ones. You know, perhaps you've been feeling blocked because you feel like, you know, am I doing the right thing? Have I been doing the right amount of work? Maybe I'm not trying hard enough. That's probably where that, like I said, that do the work card comes in. But intuitively I sense that you have been doing the work. It's just maybe you're not really recognizing all that you've been doing. You know, sometimes the one thing that can heal blockages is just time. So like I said, don't be hard on yourself if you have been feeling like it's your own fault that these blockages have come up. I'm not getting the sense that it was your fault. I just think circumstances in your life recently, pile number ones, have been maybe overburdening you and a little bit of, you know, pain there with that Three of Swords energy, but that is clearing in February here, I'm seeing. And Spirit here is just saying is a piece of advice to really focus on the releasing of those burdens and the releasing of those pains in February. Now the King of Pentacles reversed here is interesting. King of Pentacles reversed is asking for more energy of external earth. So in layman's terms, that's about the material world. That's about money. That's about career. Another piece of advice I would say here in February, pile ones, is focus a little bit more on, well, especially here with the Page of Wands next to it, because the Page of Wands is exploring fire, so exploring creativity, exploring passion, that type of thing. Don't be afraid at work or whatever it is that you do in the physical realm, right, here with Earth, to explore more creatively in that area, I guess, is one piece of advice here. Especially because normally the King of Pentacles upright would be about being stable externally in the material world, but is asking for just a little bit more of that in February here, being reversed, specifically in the area of creativity here with the Page of Wands. Not being afraid to explore a little bit. You know, that could be, you know, like if you are a very creative person and your job is a creative job, right? Don't be afraid to, what's the word? Maybe go a little bit beyond your comfort zone. You know, maybe that's kind of where that fear of releasing something into the world came in earlier with your predictions. Maybe it is something more experimental than you're used to, and you're afraid, well, if I release this into the world, like, you know, will people like it if it's that much different than what I usually release to the world? And if that's the case, pile number ones, they're saying don't be afraid to be more exploratory, not to worry so much about trying things that are new in that area. And, you know, even if your career or your job isn't like a creative job, like, you know, say something with art or music, etc., do find ways at work where you can be a little bit more creative about, what's the word? Be a little bit more creative about the way you go about finding external security here with that King of Pentacles reverse. So that could be, you know, maybe if money's a little bit tight, there's some sort of avenue of income that you haven't quite looked at yet, just because it hasn't really touched on your mind yet. So think a little bit more creatively in that aspect if money is a little bit of a concern here in February. Could also be like if there's a problem at work that you come across and you feel like there's just like a complete blockage, maybe that's that blocked energy I was feeling earlier, and you're like, this project is going nowhere, or this thing is just a pain in my butt, you know, that type of feeling, you know, the frustrating projects at work or things you do at work that are just, you know, not working out, or it's just not, yeah, that type of frustrated feeling. Think your advice here is to think more creatively in that area, but also just keep up hope that there is a release of burden and there is a release of pain here with the Three of Swords reversed and that Ten of Wands we talked about earlier reversed, that things are on the mend, things will be unblocked, that type of thing. Because you have been doing the work, pile number ones. I'm not seeing any indication that like there's any fault of your own in these areas. I'm just more seeing, you know, if there is one little thing you could do to help just a little bit more, it would be just being more creative in this area and a little bit more optimistic in terms of, you know, the outlook of how these projects will go, I guess is how I would put it. Yeah, let's see if anything else pops out here before I leave you for the day, pile number ones. Yeah, so just in summary, pile number ones, don't be afraid to release new things. Don't be afraid to create and explore new things. Have faith that you have been doing the work. Have faith that you are on the right path here, especially with You Are Your Purpose. Have faith that, pain will be released, burdens will be released. Really, the only thing I'm seeing here from Spirit that's asking for just a little bit more effort on your end is creativity in terms of things that you do for money or work here with the King of Pentacles reversed next to the Page of Wands. That's really just a little nudge from Spirit I'm seeing. That's like an active thing that they're asking you or guiding you to look at doing, right? That sort of thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, pile number ones, I hope that reading was helpful for you. If you are a creative person, good luck on your creative projects. I'm seeing a lot of prosperity in this area for you. Even if you aren't a creative person, though, I'm seeing a lot of prosperity and release from pain and old energies in general in your life, pile number ones. And that's always good to hear, especially, it seems like it has been a time of a lot of burden for a while. But yeah, I just see a lot of luck in this reading for February for you. Very positive things coming. So, yeah, that's always good to hear, right? Well, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, my lovely pile number ones, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading about guidance / predictions for February 2024. As you recall, the card you used to pick your pile was number 18, Spirals of Manifestation. Gorgeous card. Cyclical patterns, that type of thing. I'll set your pile leader down here to the left as we explore your oracle cards. Like most of my readings, this reading will be in two different sections. First, we'll talk about your predictions for February, and then I also have some cards for like advice and guidance for February as well that we'll talk about in just a moment. But first, let's focus on predictions for February, what's going on. So, your Dream Ritual Oracle card is Record or Record. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what else pops out. Your Elle Qui is She Who Prepares Zenith, Formulate, Strategize, Devise. Okay, I'm already kind of getting a message, but we'll talk about that in a second. I also have Lenormand and Tarot for us today. So, Spirit for pile number twos, could you give me a Lenormand reading of 3 cards explaining predictions for February for them for 2024? Oh, okay. That one for sure popped out already. We have the Crypt, or the Burial Mound. We have the Cross, okay. And we also have, let's pick this one, the Fox, okay. And we'll interpret those in a moment. We also have tarot cards for you. So Spirit for pile threes, or sorry, for pile twos, not pile threes. Could you give me some tarot cards explaining their February predictions, please? Maybe 3 or so. Okay, actually, I forgot my setup here just a little bit. We're going to shuffle these to the right so we have more room. Alright, I think this one's popping out. We have the King of Pentacles reversed. Pile one's got that too. Okay. Something about career or the material world. Okay, we have the 7 of Cups, choices, dreams. And we have the 10 of Cups reversed. Okay. Let's see what's going on in February for pile number twos. Alright, first up, like pile 1, I think I want to read the Lenormand for you. So Lenormand is a bit more blunt than tarot. It kind of reads like a sentence. So strung together, I would say... So the Burial Mound is like the end or the death of something. The Cross can either mean spirituality or like a burden. And the Fox can mean something tricky or clever or sly, kind of a trickstery vibe, but also can mean clever in like a positive way, right? Excuse me. So reading this as a sentence, I would say in February there's a prediction of the end of a burden of trickery or someone being clever. So I don't know if leading up to when you view this video, pile twos, if there's someone in your life that's been a little sneaky about something. The Fox and Lenormand kind of reminds me of the Seven of Swords and Tarot, if you're familiar with that card. I always call that the sneaky card, is my cheeky way of referring to it. But in a positive message here, we have the end of a burden of trickery or being sly. So one prediction for February, pile twos, is there's a positive change of events or turn of events regarding someone who is being a burden on you in terms of the way they were being sneaky about something. Okay, that's how I would read the Lenormand reading for you for February. Let's look at your other cards though too and see if there's any other specific messages or similar related messages. Your pile leader is interesting because that card is all about, as it says, spirals of manifestation. So, a lot of times when we want something in our lives, we think of it as kind of a line from A to B, but this card is all about the ways that the things we want manifest in our lives in indirect ways. So it isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's a spiral, sometimes it's a zigzag. That kind of imagery and theme is what that card means, right? So I think there's something you've been wanting in February, pile number twos. There's something you've been, or that you will be like looking for in February, and there might be a little bit of a like, hey, I've been planning for this, I've really been wanting this, especially here with your Elle Qui with Zenith, she who prepares, formulates, strategize, devise. You've really been trying to figure out and write down and plan for this thing. Because you're like, well, if I just do it, if I plan for it, if I pray for it, if I, insert thing here, if I put a slot into this coin, or I'm sorry, I put a coin into the slot, then I should get thing out of the machine, so to speak, right? Metaphorically speaking. But what your pile leader talks about is sometimes the way things manifest or the things that we want don't always work in a simple put coin in, get thing out. So there might be a little bit of a frustration here in February at first, pile number two, so don't get scared. There might be a little bit of a frustration at first with something that you've been wanting to get done or receive in February that you've been working your butt off for, but it doesn't immediately come right away, or it doesn't come in the way that you expect. It's a little bit of a roundabout, like, a little bit of a roundabout gotcha, like, it doesn't come in the exact form that you necessarily thought that it would, or at the time that you thought it would. So, as a general reading, everyone's going to be a little bit different. But I do see whatever it is that you've been wanting and planning for. Yes, there is something about it manifesting. It's just that it might not come exactly in the way or at the time that you've been expecting it. Just because sometimes the universe with manifestation works in ways of, it can't just be a slot machine and put in the coin, get thing out, right? Sometimes there's other things involved that kind of have to be intricately interwoven, or I guess is weave the past tense? Intricately woven, I'll say, to get to the thing that you've been asking for, I guess is how I would put it. So just expect that in February, pile number twos, whatever that specific thing necessarily is for you, right? And then your tarot cards are interesting. We have the King of Pentacles reversed. That's all about external material things, needing more of that or some matter in that area, right? Could be with career or money. We have the Seven of Cups, which is about choices, about dreams. What is the right choice? What is real? What is illusion? That type of thing. It's almost kind of like the analysis paralysis card, I call it. Kind of like the Two of Swords that way, but a little bit more in multiple choices or what's real or what's not. And then we have the Ten of Cups reversed, which is some matter regarding happiness in a relationship, or what we think of as our happily ever after, right? So to speak. So, another part of February, pile number twos, that Spirit wants to speak to you about is there's some matter regarding external security. So that could be career or money with the King of Pentacles reversed, where there's a choice to be made, weighing different options with the Seven of Cups, And there's a little bit of a fear here of which one will bring me, or what choice will bring me to the happily ever after that I'm looking for, okay? That probably is related to your manifestation thing we just talked about how it's not always necessarily put coin in, get manifested thing out, right? So to speak. So I think we'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, in your guidance advice section of this reading, but I think that, like, you will be just fine, even though there might be an initial little bit of a hitch there with a fear of making the wrong choice, or a fear of that happily ever after, or that manifested thing you've been looking for not coming to you. It's just that it might just take a while to come to you, and it might, like I said before, not be in the exact form that you expected it to be. So if that is, tangibly something to do with money, if there's a little bit of a struggle with money here with the King of Pentacles reversed in February, it could be that you expected the money to come in a certain way, but then in a roundabout way, it comes in another form that you didn't expect it to. That type of thing. If it's related to a relationship here, especially like we were saying, the end of a burden with someone that's clever or tricky with your Lenormand, right? It could be that the justice surrounding that situation of that person that's been sneaky and a burden, right? They'll get their just desserts in a way that you're not expecting. That's kind of what I'm seeing here with the themes of your reading for February. Let's see if there's any other messages here before we move on to your guidance and advice for February, pile number 2s. Yeah. So I would say, just so far, keep doing what you're doing, pile number 2s. At least in terms of the thing that you've been wanting to manifest, just know that it might not come exactly the way you expected it to. And then also be certain and or comforted by the fact that there is some sort of burden that's being lifted off of you here. Like I said, the coffin or burial mound right next to the cross is the lifting or the death of a burden, and it's related, like I said, to someone being clever or sneaky. And then just know that when you do come across that weighing of choices here in February, pile number 2s, that maybe makes you fear for external security a little bit, or fear of not getting a happily ever after, just know that the answer to that situation might come in a way that you're not expecting, is how I would put that, okay? All right, well, let's go on to your advice and guidance section for February, pile number 2s. I'm going to clear the board just a bit here. Just a momentary pause. We'll shuffle your cards a little bit here, your tarot at least. Okay. So, overall positive things for February, pile number 2s. Maybe just a little bit of a bump in fear for a second, and then it seems like things will be resolved, though, for you, pile 2s. With that spiral as a manifestation card, especially. Okay, so I shuffled your tarot cards, and then let's look at your oracle cards for advice guidance for February. So your angel guide oracle for this month is vulnerability and freedom. Okay. Vulnerability and freedom. And then your healing spirits oracle looks like the Northern Lights. Endurance is the key to success. So kind of like I was saying before, keep on trucking as you've been trucking, pile number 2s. Okay. And then let's look at your tarot cards. Spirit for pile number 2s, could you give me advice or guidance for pile 2s in February, please? 3 to 4 cards, please. Okay, well, for sure those 2. Okay. We have, let's see, the 8 of Swords reversed. Look at that right next to freedom. Literally, this is the card of freeing yourself when it's reversed. Okay. Look at that. Lovely. We have the Hanged Man, perspective shift. Okay. We also have the 7 of Cups again. I swear to God I shuffled it. You saw me. Or, well, maybe I didn't do it on camera, but you heard me. I swear to God. Okay, 7 of Cups. And then we have the 10 of Cups. Once again, I swear to God I shuffled. 10 of Cups reversed. Wow, okay. Usually that many cards don't come up again in the same position. Okay. Anyways. Thanks, Spirit. Guidance advice for February. Okay. So we already talked about how some things might not come in the way you expect in February pile number twos. There might be like a releasing of a burden on you with someone being sneaky. There, what were the other messages? Yeah, like not expecting things to come out the way, or like not expecting like putting a coin in and getting something out of it. It's just like your spiral as a manifestation card says, sometimes the way things manifest is in a little bit of an indirect way. We also talked about maybe a little bit of fear initially with some sort of choice regarding external security and happily ever after, but things seem like they'll work out anyways, even if at first it seems a little bleak, right? That type of thing. So your advice in February pile number twos is, especially because you got the Seven of Cups upright again and the Ten of Cups reversed again. Like I said, I swear to God, I shuffled. You heard me. You saw me pull them out. That's a very emphasized message from Spirit here to be calmed or comforted when that situation comes up that seems a little bit scary right away of, oh God, what choice do I make? What do I do? Is my happily ever after in jeopardy, right? To be comforted in that things will be just fine. It's just that sometimes what we manifest takes a while to get there, or like I said, in a different way than we expect. I know I'm repeating that a lot, but that is a very repeated message here with your cards, pile number twos. So I think Spirit just really wants to comfort you that everything will be just fine. It'll be okay. Just be patient and like know that things will turn out just fine in the end here. You will make the right choice. I see here pile number twos. Yeah. And it's something to do with freeing yourself here, or focus on, when you are making that choice, focus on freeing yourself from something, you know, because you not only got the Eight of Swords reversed here, which is about freeing yourself from a prison of some sort, you also receive vulnerability and freedom from your angel guide oracle about being released from something. So whatever it is, it's something that's been either tying you down or it's been weighing you down. And they're saying when you do make that choice, really shift your perspective to think about what's the thing that would give me the most freedom? What's the thing that would make me the most open to releasing myself from burdens, right? And then your Healing Spirits Oracle here is endurance is the key to success. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep enduring, pile number twos. Like I said, I think you're on just the right path. It's just that having faith in the choices that you make, having faith in the manifestation of the things you've been looking for, and having faith that things will turn out all right in the end will make the ride that much smoother for you in February, okay? Let's see here. With the Ten of Cups reversed, Seven of Cups, like we were talking about, that's that repeated message. Yeah. I'm going to ask Spirit if they can give us another Lenormand reading on what this choice is about. I know we talked about earlier there's something to do with like security and happily ever after. We'll see if Lenormand can give us more nitty gritty. Obviously, as a generating, everyone's going to be a bit different, but Spirit, for pile number twos, could you give me more details about what the Seven of Cups choice is? Is it just something to do with material security for them? We have the Bear. Okay, so strength, or could mean someone who is stocky as the physical description. Okay. We have the Man. Okay. We also have, let's see here, the Scythe, which means something swift. So this choice is something to do with either a stocky man who is quick about something. It could also mean a hairy man. I know it sounds really weird, but in Lenormand, the bear can mean someone who's hairy, right? A hairy man who is quick or swift about something. It could be intuitively, I'm getting the sense that it might be something to do with this masculine figure who's pressuring you to do something quickly, as a part of this choice here. And the bear can also mean someone like successful. If I remember correctly, it can also mean someone like strong. So like a successful or strong man, or hairy or stocky man doing something swiftly or in a swift motion with the scythe here. So that's related to the choice. So obviously, like generating, everyone's going to be a little bit different, but that's the general guidance for those of you that's applicable to, that's what this choice is about. So Yeah. Let's see if there's any other guidance or messages here for you, pile number 2s. Yeah, so just have faith that everything will work out just fine for you, pile 2s. Focus on freedom. Focus on shifting your perspective towards what gives me the most freedom when you make this choice. And don't adhere to time pressures when it comes to making this choice in February, especially with like the scythe is about swift motion. Especially next to the 7 of Cups too is about carefully weighing options, right? What's a good choice? What's not? What are these paths before me? That type of feeling, right? And then keep going as you're going. I'm surprised you didn't get the Knight of Pentacles, but that's kind of the feeling I get off of your endurance is the key to success card here. That's a little bit covered right now. Is, yeah, just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't let anyone time pressure you here, especially this man described here, masculine energy. Doesn't always necessarily mean a man. It could just mean masculine energy, right? That type of thing. And then, let's see, you also had that prediction earlier with someone who is like the release or the end of a burden of someone being sneaky. So that could be the person we're talking about here. That masculine energy is the one trying to be sneaky. And that's why there's that swift motion of trying to force you into making a choice really quickly. But that's the thing is that, by this advice or this guidance to walk away from things that make you feel trapped, someone putting time pressure on you like that can be something that limits your freedom or makes you feel more trapped. So just be wary of that here in February, pile number 2s, of anyone that tries to make you go faster than you think is necessary. It could be a project at work where they're trying to make you crunch it out a lot faster than what is viably possible, or at least for like the benefit of the quality of the thing that they're trying to crunch out fast, right? It could be someone putting pressure on you to make a choice of some sort really quickly, that type of thing. Yeah, weigh your options carefully. Don't feel pressured. Focus on what brings you freedom, pile number 2s. And just know that, yeah, good things are coming. Don't worry about happily ever after. That will be just fine. Don't worry about financial security. That'll be just fine. Like I said before, it just might not come in exactly the package that you're expecting it to here with your Spirals of Manifestation card and your predictions we talked about earlier. So, yeah. All right, well, pile number 2s, I hope that reading was helpful for you. As always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your Pick a Card reading that is all about predictions and guidance for February 2024, generally the month ahead after this video is uploaded / when you view it. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was number 27, Receiving. So we have a figure here who is drinking, it looks kind of almost like tea from a cup. So one of the themes here for February, I think for you pile 3s, is receiving things, being given things. Probably a little bit of a self-care message here, but of course we'll see what your other cards say before I get too far into the weeds. We'll set your pile leader down here. And then I do have oracle cards first up. We'll talk about the predictions for February for you, and then we'll talk about advice / guidance for February for you. So we'll just set these down here with me for a second. And your first oracle card for February for predictions is Transition. Okay, so some transitions here in February. Changing from one way to another, one phase to another. We'll see what else pops out. We have your Elle Qui, she who is present, Taraz or Tiraz. Now, awareness, acceptance. Okay, so that's kind of leaning into that receiving energy we were talking about with your pile leader, pile number 3s. Some sort of change coming, some sort of thing where there will be acceptance needed, something with more passive energy rather than active energy, but of course we'll see what else your cards say. Spirit for pile 3s, could you give me a Lenormand reading of 3 different cards, predictions for their February 2024, please? 3 cards. Okay, let's see what pops out here. This one, we have the Lily. Can mean elderly, it can mean purity, it can mean sexuality. That one was really dependent on the other cards. We have the Fox, someone being clever, someone being sneaky, something like that. Once again, kind of dependent on the other cards. And then we have, let's see what this one is. The Heron, or the Crane. Or the stork, technically. Delivery of something, okay. And then we have tarot cards, Spirit for pile 3s. Could you give me 3 different cards describing predictions for their February 2024? Let's see, okay. Let's see, oh, for sure these 2. So we have the Sun reversed, we have the Magician reversed. Okay, a lot of major arcana popping out here, and then we also have the Knight of Cups reversed. Okay. Pile 3s, what's going on in February? Get my ducks in a row here. Okay, so number 1 from your Lenormand here, one prediction is, reading it bluntly as one sentence, is kind of how I read Lenormand, and I would say it's something to do with the purity of trickery being delivered. So I would almost see that as, you're kind of like pile number 2s that way. There's something coming to light here in February, pile 3s, where there was some sort of trickery involved, or you thought there was trickery involved, but the purity of it is going to come out or be delivered. So that could mean purity in terms of, oh, they weren't being tricky, actually there were pure intentions behind this, or it could mean purity in terms of light coming out about the trickery itself and you realizing, oh, maybe their intentions weren't so pure. So that really kind of depends. As a general reading, everyone's going to be a little bit different, but there's some area in your life in February here where the purity of trickery is delivered. Okay. So like I said, the lily can also sometimes mean sexuality. It can also sometimes mean elderly, but I'm getting the sense here next to the fox, it's something about purity. Okay. So that type of thing. Let's see what other messages pop out here for you pile 3s. Like I said, there's a lot of passive energy here for February predictions. There's a lot about receiving, hence your pile leader. There's a lot about she who is present. Now, awareness, acceptance. That's not an active energy of necessarily going forth with something or being seeking something. It's about receiving. It's about accepting. Hence kind of what it says on the tin with both of these cards. And then transition, like I said, there's some sort of change coming in February here. And I think that's the thing that you'll have to maybe kind of wrestle a little bit with accepting or being present with, about receiving. It could be a positive thing. It could be something a little bit to be prepared for. We'll see what your tarot cards, though, say before I give concrete details on that. So we have the Sun reversed, which can mean either you're unhappy with something or there's a lack of clarity. The Magician reversed is feeling like you don't have all the tools you need for something. And then the Knight of Cups reversed is about either feeling unable to explore emotions in some area or feeling like you can't go forward with emotions in some area. Yeah, I think... So what I would say at pile number 3 is for February, this change is something that feels like it makes life just a little bit more confusing. Like perhaps there's a feeling here in February of, oh, I'm not ready for this change. I'm not even sure what to feel about it. Like there's some sort of surprise here, and it's not necessarily negative and it's not necessarily positive. I'm not really getting a feeling either way here, pile 3s. It's just something that's coming where there'll be a feeling of needing to accept. So like I said, not sure if it's negative, not sure if it's positive, but it is something that is going to usher in a transition in your life, especially to, not just because you got the transition card, right, but also you got 2 major arcana, which I always see in readings. Majority of major arcana tells me there's some sort of major life change or life lesson being learned here in the energy of the reading. So I would say just to prepare for that. You know, it could be related to this purity of trickery delivered here. I would like to get more specifics on what the change is, so let me get another Lenormand reading on the table for you, pile 3s. Sometimes I hesitate to give more concrete details because these are general readings, but I do feel like I want to give you, because this is more of a major thing coming, I want to give you more details as much as I can, just with the understanding in mind that this is a general reading. So, you know, some people, it might not be right dead on applicable to. So, Spirit, for pile 3s, could you give me more specifics about this change that pile 3s might not kind of feel prepared for or might be kind of confused by at first? Can you give me 3 cards, please? We have the snake, okay. We have, let's see, we have the bear, okay. And then we have the tree, which can mean health or family, okay. Okay, reading this all together, this change is something to do with, let's see, the snake can mean renewal, it can mean rebirth. The snake can also mean a woman in Lenormand, like a fierce, more independent type woman. Especially with the bear next to it. The bear is either like a successful business person or someone who is stocky in description or hairy in description. I know it sounds weird, but literally Lenormand, a bear can mean someone that's hairy, right? Someone's strong. Okay, so something about this change is related to someone who is fierce and strong in your family. Hence the tree here, because tree can mean family. It can also mean health. So if I was reading it for health, I would say the transition or change is something to do with the fierce strength of health, or some sort of fierceness with health here, that type of thing. Or it could also mean the health of a business in some way, especially if you're reading the bear as like a business person, right? Someone successful in business, especially because with him capturing the fish in his mouth, the fish in Lenormand generally tends to mean business or exchange of goods or money, that type of thing. So I would say if it's related to a business here for you, pile number 2, or excuse me, pile number 3s, there's some sort of change in the strength of the business, and having to work through that transition. If it's something to do with a fierce, independent, strong woman here, I'm seeing described, especially with the snake, meaning, you know, someone who is like, it can mean a woman, right? Something to do with a woman like that in your family, or feminine energy like that in your family, or the health of that person, that type of change. I'm not seeing anything overwhelmingly bad, so I wouldn't go doom and gloom about this. It's just a little bit of a heads up from Spirit that in February there is something coming that you're not quite expecting, and it's something to do that makes you kind of confused or feels like you don't have all the tools you need to deal with it at first. And there's going to be maybe a little bit of a need of becoming aware of something, being in the now, accepting this change or this transition, pile number 3s, okay? I think definitely too with the Knight of Cups reversed, like I said, that's like a lack of exploring emotions. You might not just know how to feel about it right away. So just expect that in February, okay? I think your advice, guidance part of the reading will give us a little bit more nitty gritty of what this is. 2, with your receiving card over here, your pile leader, I would say that's kind of an indication too of focusing on your self-care here in February too, especially with being receiving, that passive energy of being willing to accept things, being willing to have people help you, that type of thing. So it might be just a little bit of a time of leaning on others for more support, depending on what this change is, right? Okay. So let's get to your advice guidance section of your reading, pile 3s. I'll clear the board. Yeah. Okay. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to figure out where to put my cards. And then we have these. All right. And we'll shuffle your tarot deck here. Oopsie. I have little teeny baby hands. Sometimes it's hard for me to hold the decks. Okay. Squish. All right. We'll pull those out in just a second. Let's look at your oracle cards of advice for February, pile 3s. We have from your angel guide oracle, friendship and union. So a focus on how we connect with others. Like I was saying just before, there might be a little bit of a need to more lean on your relationships here in February because of this change coming, pile 3s. How do we work in tandem with others? How do we nurture our friendships and relationships, that type of thing. We also have true love can never really be lost. Okay. Let's see what your tarot cards say. Spirit, for pile 3s, can you give me about 3 to 4 cards explaining advice or guidance for February navigating these situations? Okay, let's see what pops out. Definitely that one. We have the Lovers. Could be something related to love here. You got true love, friendship and union, the Lovers, that type of thing. We also have, interesting, there's a snake on this one too. And you got the snake with Lenormand. All right. I'll read for that in a second. Let's see. This one is calling our name. We have Temperance reversed, a lack of balance in some area. Okay. We also have the Magician reversed again. I swear to God, I shuffled. You watched me. Magician reversed again. And then last card, we have the Eight of Wands reversed. Okay. Slowness and things, or speed. Some sort of indication of speed of something. Okay. All right, one moment as I gather my thoughts here for you, pile threes, advice guidance for February 2024. So, part of this, or the predictions we were talking about earlier, pile threes, we were talking about, you know, something about like a fierce woman, something about, what was the first Lenormand reading? It was something about, the delivery of purity, or purity of something being sneaky delivered. So there's something here in your relationships that they're giving you guidance on, pile threes, where I think it's related to romance, because you got true love can never really be lost, and the Lovers, and friendship and union. It could also just be a very close platonic relationship. Because earlier you did get the tree with Lenormand, which can mean family, right? Something in that area. They're telling you really to focus on your relationships in this time. Like I was saying, you know, you don't be afraid to accept help. You know, don't be afraid to receive, like your pile leader says. You know, don't be afraid to lean on others for support when you need it during this time in February in any area. Not even just the thing that we were talking about, this change, right? Yeah. Let's see what else is popping out here. And then you did get the Magician reversed again. And once again, you got major arcana across the board except for the Eight of Wands. Like I said in the beginning, that tends to pop up in readings for me when a major life lesson or change is at foot here, or afoot. So something bigger is coming in February. Like I said, it's not necessarily negative, so don't get scared. But it is something where you're going to feel like you're not prepared for it, okay? And they're asking to, when this does come up, pile threes, to focus on, you know, not immediately reacting, taking as much time as you can to kind of accept and process it, right? And gather all the tools you can to address it here with the Magician reverse, because the Magician reverse is all about, normally upright, it's about having all the tools you need. Reversed, it's feeling like, okay, I maybe need to gather a little bit more. Maybe I need to prepare a little bit more for this before I finally give like an answer, or I react to whatever this change is, right? So lean into that a little bit more of preparation during the month of February, pile threes, okay? Same thing with Temperance. Focus on bringing more balance into your life with whatever way you decide to navigate the situation. Temperance is all about balance. Reverse is asking for more balance, right? Moderation, that type of thing. And then the Lovers is interesting. Like I said, a lot of love, relationship cards popping up here. Like true love can never really be lost. Friendship and union, the Lovers. Sometimes it can mean a choice to be made with the Lovers, but I typically read it more as like a romantic, or like at least a strong relationship type thing, even if it's not romantic. It could be platonic, right? So there's something about focusing on your romantic relationships here and your friendships here in February, pile threes. Like I said, it's interesting that the snake pops up here again, because you did get the snake in one of your Lenormand cards, and that was the one we were talking about, like a fierce woman. I don't tend to read love too much, only when it pops up, pile threes, but I think maybe part of the situation is regarding, how do I put it? There's this woman that was described as like fierce. I think that she might be playing a role in a romantic relationship or a friendship of yours that you're not quite, you don't know yet. I think because with that Lenormand reading we had, where it was like the purity of trickery delivered, right? that's what's going to come to light in February, and this change or this transition is something to do with that friendship or romantic situation with that woman involved. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing here with the Lovers and all these other cards popping out. So yeah, it's something to do in that area. I feel like there's changes coming in that area. Yeah, like I said, it's not necessarily negative. I'm not getting that feeling. It's just that there's some sort of major transition. Okay. And then let's see, the Eight of Wands reversed is all about slowness. Upright, normally it's about being quick about something. Yeah, I think that's just kind of another indication, like we were saying with the Magician reversed earlier, to take your time. Don't feel like you have to make a really fast decision when this change comes up. Don't feel like you have to react super fast. You know, take your time to gather the materials you need to go forward in what's going on. You know, gather more information, gather your resources, lean on, you know, your relationships for help here, especially with receiving as your pile leader, right? We talked about that type of thing, of not being afraid to receive. Before you go forward to find more balance in your life with Temperance reversed, and find more balance in these relationships that keep being brought up here with not only the Lovers but your two Oracle cards too. I'm going to look at True Love can never really be lost again here for a second. Yeah, I see a lot of support around you in this time, pile number 3s. I think whatever happens here in February, a lot will be revealed about, you know, where your support really is in your life. And that's one of the reasons I think this is happening, is because you'll realize who is there for you in February. You'll realize who is truly supportive of you, pile 3s. Just because, like, these two figures are not just alone, but they're surrounded by a bunch of other people, and there's a lot of that pink red energy there, which is, you know, love, passion, those type of feelings, right? Yeah, true love can never really be lost. Sometimes, like I said, I'm not necessarily seeing a loss for you in a relationship, pile 3s, but in the case that does happen, as a general reading, it's going to be a bit different. One of the positive things or silver linings that can come out of a negative situation is you realize who you can really rely and fall back on when things do go awry. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing here intuitively. Like I said, not necessarily, I'm not trying to scare you and be like, oh, this big scary thing is happening, a relationship's gonna go fail or whatever, but depending on what happens for you in February, your advice is to not be afraid to lean on other people, like I said, but also see it as an opportunity or silver lining to realize who is really there for you, okay? Focus on your friendships. You know, if there is a struggle in a romantic relationship in February, pile 3s, you know, lean back on your family, lean back on your close friends, that type of thing, okay? And yeah, just take time to take care of yourself, take time to let others help you, take time to gather your thoughts, gather your feelings, gain more clarity before you make any decisions, and focus on, when you do make that decision, bringing more balance in your life with Temperance reversed, okay? Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that reading was helpful for you, my lovely pile number 3s. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, like always, and I hope to see you in the next reading.